We are going to talk a little bit about how to customize your ePortfolio. Just to be very clear from the beginning, you do not have to customize your ePortfolio. You can leave it exactly as it is if you choose to do so. And these are just some ideas in case you decide you really can't stand that bright yellow color at the top, or you don't like the photo on the back, or you just want to personalize it and make it more reflective of your individual personality. So please, again, just remember that none of this is required, but I'm going to show you how to do a few things in case you're interested as far as customizing goes. So the first thing I want to talk about is how to change your fonts. And I'm going to come in and again, we'll just look at the welcome page as a demonstration here. If you might recall earlier, talked a little bit about these different icons that come up for each corresponding module. Right now we're going to be looking at this little cog icon here, the second one down. And if I click on that, if I click on that, you'll notice it brings a lot of options up here for me. So if I, for example, want to change my font, I come over here to where it says font family, and I can click on these different fonts, and once I click on a font, it will automatically change all the text in that particular module to look like that font. And so I can click on different fonts here and get a sort of a preview of what that might look like. And you can go ahead and scroll down and try whichever ones you want until you find a good fit. And then again, once you find a good fit for your font, if you again want to change the size of things, you can do that as well here. And I could also change my font color if I wanted to. Again, I probably wouldn't recommend going too crazy with colors and keeping it still fairly dark. One thing that I have seen some people do is that they like to have sort of the dark mode where you have maybe like white font on a dark background, and so or like a light gray, and you could do that. And then at the same time, if I wanted to change my background color, I can come down here. So there's no color on there right now. And I can click on this and it brings up a different menu of colors. I can click on the black, and then you'll notice that I have the black background now with the light writing, and my links are still there in blue and they're still active. So that's just one possibility for changing that. And again, that's going to change the background of this particular module. I could also put an image in behind the module if I wanted to. Just show you how that looks really quickly. One thing you can do is you can also go to previous uploads if you've uploaded an image before. So I have this background image on the back of this module, but the reason you can't see it is because my opacity is so high. So if I want to change that, I can double click and I can slide, and then you can change it till that color overlay is just coming through a little bit. And anyway, you can play around with that to get it to where you like it. So there are a lot of fun things that you can do to each module. Another thing that you can do, just show you a few things up here. This is your alignment. So let's say, for example, that you would rather have things centered, or you want it spread out, or you want it right justified for whatever reason. We'll just keep left justified right now. But that's how you can change the alignment. Again, it is going to affect all of the text in that particular module. So if you want just one thing, like just your heading centered, I would recommend putting your heading in a separate module and then centering that, and then the module underneath it could have the rest of the text, and you can align that a different way. You can also change your padding, so that's going to change how much space you have around here. So maybe I want a little more room around my module here, so I can increase my padding a bit. And then you can, there's some other things that you can do here as well. With your links, I could change the color of my links, so maybe I actually want my links to be red. I'd probably steer clear from that and stay with the darker blue. That's just a little more traditional. You can change your hover color. You can underline your links if you want to make sure that people are seeing those. So there are a lot of different possibilities in here. You can kind of play around with those a bit. If I want to enable that prompt or disable the prompt, sorry, that keeps popping up on the page, maybe that's getting really annoying, I can always come in here under the module options and I can just turn that off. So that will stop popping up. So those are your basic elements here within the modules. If I wanted to change this background picture, for example, I'm going to use these icons on the far left here. So I can go in and click on the cog. Again, if I don't want this image, I can take that image completely out, and maybe I just want to have a color back there instead. Again, just to show you an example. So this is just going to impact this section right here. Again, that's not, I don't know that I'm loving that color with everything else going on. I might change that just a little bit. And then I can change additional settings as well later on. So you'll notice that this has a white color here. This is corresponding. This one here is your top layer background. This is your bottom layer background. So this is your top layer background. This is your bottom layer background. Again, without getting too complicated. But all these backgrounds can be changed. Let's say now, excuse me, so I can go through and change these. I can change opacity on these. Like maybe I want to have some of this blue show through the gray. I can change up all of that, or maybe I don't want any of it showing through. So you can adjust those and play around with it using the different sliders. So once I have my background changed or my fonts changed where I want them on this, I can go ahead and do a few things with my menu. So I'm going to come up here, and as we talked about before, this is your header, and so that anything that you do up in this area is going to show up on every page in your portfolio. So if I come over here and click on this, I have this little tools button here as well. You'll notice I currently have it on this color, but again, if I wanted to make it matched and have a better flow with that down there, I can change that. And then this corresponds with this background here. So again, there's a lot you can change on here, so don't get overwhelmed by it. But if you wanted this to be more uniform, this will go away once I lock this back up and publish my changes. So you can get a sense of what that would look like. The other things that you can change, again, you can also change the fonts for this. So let's say for my menu, I really just want a different font for my menu. We'll just do this one for now. And I can change my font color. Maybe I want that darker. I can add a little bit of padding in there if I'm not loving the size of the white area or how that's showing up. I can do a lot of different things. I can change my alignment, right, so that's a little more centered. I can, again, change the corners on that. I can change my background color. Maybe I want that to be yellow instead. So I can put images back there as well. So a lot of different things I can do and I can play around with. So just a few ideas here. One more thing I'll mention is you can also customize a banner if you wanted to do your own banner up here. Sometimes people like to do that. Sometimes people will make a banner on something like Canva or one of these other programming tools that you can use. And those are kind of fun as well if you're into that. The next thing we're going to look at is how to change your thumbnail image. A lot of times this is the image that's going to show up when you're logging into Digication, and I'll show you an example of that just 1 minute. So it looks like this is just finishing saving my changes. As soon as it does that, I'm going to take you back into my Digication dashboard so you can see what image we're talking about that we're going to change. Hopefully this is about done. Okay, there we go. So I'm just going to go back to my home button here. Again, I just went over to this red D, and when I hover, this drops down. So if I click on home, this is going to show the portfolios I've been working on recently. So this is the image right here that we're going to change. And you'll notice that right now I have a bunch that look similar. So maybe I want to make this one unique so I know exactly just from looking at it which portfolio I want to work on. So we're going to go ahead and just click back into this portfolio. And to change my thumbnail, I'm going to come up to this, again, this top right corner with the 3 lines and the little arrows. This is my sandwich menu. and I'm going down to my settings, and you'll notice it shows your thumbnail, and I can click on choose a thumbnail. So again, I'm just going to go to like my previous uploads, a photo I've uploaded before. We'll just do this picture of the school. And it's not always exact, so sometimes you have to crop your image and play around with it a little bit, but it'll be fairly close to what's there. And then I can go ahead and save my settings, and that will change my thumbnail. So now, if I were to go back to my home page, this is now the background for that particular portfolio. And that is just a brief overview of some of the things you can do to customize your portfolio. I hope this has been helpful.